The next one was another one of the top articles that I read all week long. And again, I really didn't see anybody else covering this. And as somebody who started this whole venture with a newsletter, to read about the corporate infiltration of the newsletter industry when it comes to politics and news, this was really near and dear to my heart. And this was an excellent expose. It's really long. And I, again, highly encourage you to go to the Daily Poster and read all the news that's fit to spin. That's the name of this article. And it exposes specifically the Punch Bowl. It talks about Axios. It talks about several different of these morning publications. I get one also called Morning Brew in my work email that is put out on the review platform through Twitter. And look at who their content is sponsored by, presented by ExxonMobil and Chevron and the Healthcare Association. So big corporations, and they're using this as a mouthpiece with their sponsored content. And the Punch Bowl News apparently has turned into like a Washington a checklist, a to-do list. And these companies have figured out that to get in front of all of the heavies and the decision makers in Washington, that you can sponsor and be part of these newsletters, which are delivered to people's inbox. So Mark Halperin apparently started the Note, and this was the beginning of the newsletter business. But now Politico, Punch Bowl, Axios, okay, they are openly saying they're pioneering the native advertising model, right? They're basically corporate horse. So
Yep.
MSNBC and CNN are owned by the telecom giants Comcast and AT&T. Provide these corporate pamphleteers recurring television guest slots to tell the masses how to properly interpret what's happening in Washington. They have sources and you don't. Again, this is such a good article. Sirota, Walker Bragman, Andrew Perez worked really hard in exposing this. I actually was calling mention to this earlier in the week when they were ignoring the Donziger thing in a newsletter sponsored by Chevron. Each day it's sponsored by one of them or HCA Healthcare, tech companies, actively trying to sway and manufacture the discourse parameters for the legislation Punch Bowl is covering. And they've made mention, you can see in here, there are some screenshots. Yeah, here. Tuesday's Punch Bowl newsletter was worse. They had the email headline, "Try Believing Joe Manchin," was yet again sponsored by ExxonMobil, the oil company whose lobbyist recently admitted that they talk every week to his office. And they actively revised history in a way that no doubt pleased ExxonMobil, declaring that if you've listened to Manchin and you're still surprised by or enraged by his positions, that may be because you're irrationally hopeful that he'll change his beliefs, or that you're engaging in wishful and likely unrealistic thinking, because he's been wildly consistent. I read this and my head fucking exploded. Honestly, my head exploded. I remember putting screenshots of this out on Twitter, and then 2 hours later, Andrew Perez put something out also. Odyssey is a good platform. I'm a little disappointed in their tech sometimes. The thing will just crash on me. I don't know why. But yes, I think they're a really good platform. Manchin said lawmakers should spend as much as $4 trillion, and now all of a sudden it's down to $1.5 trillion max, right? So tell me how wildly consistent he's been. He's wildly consistent in that he keeps dropping the number, and that he keeps backing off and moving the goalposts. So again, here's what you have to understand about Manchin. Here it is. He says what he means when he gets heavy pressure from the left. It helps him back home, except he's faced very little actual pressure from the left. You won't find any sustained advertising campaign targeting Manchin for working to deny dental, vision, and hearing benefits to seniors through Medicare, even though seniors in his state desperately need the help. It's unreal. On the other hand, if you live in West Virginia, you may have seen ads from a health insurance industry front group claiming Manchin has fought for seniors, by which they mean that he wants to make sure private health insurers keep making huge profits from the Medicare Advantage program. Grosser than grosser than gross. I subscribe to the Punch Bowl just so that I can see what kind of misinformation they're spreading out there, so that I know how to counter a narrative.
Talking about Medicare Advantage. What? I'm too old for this shit.
Danny Glover.
Danny Glover.
Yep. We covered that story a few weeks ago. That yeah, he's been doing commercials championing that.
Yep.
Okay, Nora's mansion faced significant pressure from the Biden White House. Of course he hasn't, because he's done their bidding, essentially. Among the only pushback he faced was a single op-ed by Bernie, published in a West Virginia newspaper, calling on him to support the party's reconciliation bill that prompted a public meltdown from the Wolf of West Virginia. Okay, but the most insulting part was Punch Bowl writing, "Here's the reality. Joe Manchin is a filibuster-supporting conservative Democrat who's also an ardent supporter of coal, skeptical of big government and massive spending packages." Wait.
Yeah, but only clean coal.
Wait, what? Wait. I believe that he did vote for the Trump tax cuts, first of all.
Sure.
Also, another recent Punch Bowl blast, sponsored by Chevron, 6 days after Stephen Donziger was sentenced to jail for the alleged crime of helping a poor community win an environmental lawsuit against the company.
Yep.
Grosser than grosser than gross. Again, awesome article. Wonderful expose. Support the Daily Poster. They're growing. They're adding more reporters. I think I already have an annual subscription. Maybe I don't. I was one of the very first subscribers paid to the Daily Poster when it was just called the Sirota Substack. Even the comments are usually good. Okay. Yeah, the Sunday shows are ridiculous. ABC used Rahm Emanuel and Chris Christie as representative of the political class, which they are, as is George Stephanopoulos. And the parameters of discussion are well defined. I mean, this is fire.
Stephanopoulos or Soros?
George. No. Well, this is George Stephanopoulos. They're talking about the Sunday shows, and how corporate right wing groups. Everything was sponsored by Pfizer. Didn't Jimmy Dore? Or I saw somebody played a clip where every single major news program had at least a segment that was sponsored by Pfizer. Sponsored by Pfizer. Hey, how about that? It's sponsored by Pfizer.